Hello and welcome to everyone to this preview of India versus Sri Lanka game in the 2023 World Cup. India are on a roll, have not lost a single game, 6 wins out of 6. Sri Lanka, after starting poorly, had 2 wins back to back. First versus Netherlands, then versus England, but they lost the last game from versus Afghanistan in Pune. Wouldn't really have been a long drive to come from Pune to Wankhede, so they're here. The toss is about to happen, but I'll go to Nikhil first and then Anirudh about Nikhil, what would India be wanting to get from this game? So far, they've got a few boxes, more than a few boxes ticked, but now they don't have Hardik available. I believe again today and for the next game. So, what would India be looking for from this game?
More runs for the number four. Some good bowling practice or good bowling practice. Say good bowling practice under pressure on a very difficult deck to defend. If they are batting first, so that could make it interesting. A lot more bowling for Siraj. So there are things that they'll want to get better at, and of course, for some reason, Shubman Gill doesn't like to score in Wankhede. He hasn't had a score in a long time. In like 10 IPL games, his highest score is 81. Not highest score, total score is 81. So there is lots and lots to look out for India.
Yeah. On that note, I also wanted to take our viewers through India's unbeaten streak in this in World Cups because from 2011 to 2015, India had a streak of 11 consecutive wins, which I believe was from uh, the West Indies game in 2011 World Cup till the semi-final or the quarter-final in the 2015 World Cup. Under Saurav Ganguly, India went through 8 unbeaten games, and under Rohit Sharma, India are at 6 unbeaten games. If Rohit goes on to match MS Dhoni's streak, it could be really something. Let's hope. Anirudh, coming to you, what would be Sri Lanka looking at from this game? What is Sri Lanka's best way to beat India here?
I mean, from what we've seen from Wankhede matches so far, it feels like the best way to win matches is bat first, put up 350 plus on the board, and then try to make use of the conditions under lights, which have been slightly tricky at Wankhede so far. So I think I have no doubt that Sri Lanka will be looking to do the same. An improved batting performance if they bat first, especially after their very underwhelming showing against you know Afghanistan. But I feel Champions Trophy qualification is at stake for Sri Lanka as well. Let's not forget. So this is not like a dead rubber for them. Even though they are 90% out of contention for semi-finals. But I feel that I feel that they will still, even though Champions Trophy qualification is at stake, I think Sri Lanka might just walk out with a nothing to lose kind of attitude today because you know nobody expects them to even challenge India today. It's like not it's nobody expects them to win definitely, and few people expect them to challenge India today. So that actually might end up working in favor of Sri Lanka because we know how destructive their batters especially can be whenever they play with a nothing to lose carefree attitude. So hopefully we see that Sri Lanka today, and because India also need to be challenged, let's not forget. So I'm hoping for a somewhat close
Yeah.
game.
You mentioned about the Champions Trophy qualification online. They might be 90% out, but they still have an outside chance. On your screens, we have the qualification scenarios for Sri Lanka. They need New Zealand to lose all games. They need India to they need South Africa to win versus New Zealand and Afghanistan. They need India to win versus South Africa and Netherlands. They need England to win versus Australia and Netherlands, Afghanistan to lose all their remaining games, Pakistan to win only versus New Zealand, and Netherlands only to win versus Afghanistan, and Bangladesh win versus Pakistan and Australia. Basically, what Sri Lanka needs is the teams that are in contention, say New Zealand, Afghanistan, Australia, uh, Pakistan, to lose a lot more of their games, and they should keep winning their games. So that is the long and short of Sri Lanka's qualification chances. uh, because they cannot reach the 12 point mark. They are dependent upon a lot of other results. Uh, Coming to Sri Lanka once again, they've had some batting collapses, which we can see in this World Cup. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So they collapsed versus Afghanistan from 134 for 2 to 185 for 7, against Australia 157 for 1 to 209 all out, and against Pakistan 294 for 4 to 344 for 9. And whenever those collapses happened, they ended up losing the game. Nikhil, why do you think these collapses are happening? Is it because Sri Lanka and DDS have not been able to pull their weight apart, or would it be just unfair to put it on their shoulders? And you also have to talk about that the ones who got in really did not bat forward.
Yeah, I think it is combination of both things. You will expect the set batter to bat deep into the innings, and that is something that hasn't happened with them. And see, if you're batting first or even if you're batting second, uh, you want a stable partnership and not have to lose quick wickets. I think that is something that has happened with them every time. That it's not that they've lost one wicket. The one is suddenly followed by a second, and then second is quickly followed by the third. Now again, it may not seem a lot, but the thing is, if you start to lose 2-3 early, you are never in a rhythm of trying to get on top of the game, which is what you see. Versus Afghanistan also, 134 for 2 suddenly becomes 185 for 7. So it's not they are losing 2 to 3 wickets. You're losing 5 for 51, 9 for 52, and 5 for 50. That is, and it's happening in a very quick time. So, as you said, the set batter isn't batting deep, and that is Asalanka gets going or bats deeper, DDS doesn't, and DDS hasn't really yet come off today. So, let's see if today is the day they drop him. They've elected to field first after having winning the toss, which is something that is surprising. But let's see what the plan is there.
Akash Subramaniam from from cricket.com, who's also our colleague, and he wrote a very good piece on Haris Shroff recently. I'd like the viewers to go through it and read it. He says world ain't ready for Kusal Mendes magic. Hope he's ready at least. Pranay Yadav says, I think Dilshan Madhushanka will be a challenge for batters today in power play. I'm sure we will be touching upon this in our key battle section today. Ira Stark is saying that Virat Kohli against Sri Lanka in ODIs, innings 50, runs 2500 and 2506 runs, average of 62.65, and strike rate 93.9, century 10. Maybe those who are watching and want some fantasy tips,
You know,
there's one.
last time Aris had this data out for us, Virat went on to score a very big century. So maybe you don't know, it's just a sign. Who knows?
Okay. Sanjay saying it's amazing how people think India are yet to be challenged in this World Cup. They're actually being challenged against Australia and England, to be honest. You'd have to say even New Zealand challenged them, and it was New Zealand who was in the game the most as compared to all other oppositions. Uh, News is coming in that India are batting first, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sri Lanka
India.
opted to field.
Sri Lanka have opted to field.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's surprising. But Nikhil, happy with the decision from an Indian perspective?
Yeah, nothing like it because you want to bat first, want to get used to doing that as well. And again, I think Ricky said it on air that while chasing, not many teams have won chasing a decent score. And he also was so specific about hitting the length of 6.5 to 7.1 meters, and that just tells you how less the margin of error is on this deck and in these conditions at this venue. Also tells you about the homework done, but that is just part and parcel of what we are today. But yeah, I think India will not mind this. They are playing with pretty much an unchanged side. So runs for Gill, for Shreyas, for Surya also. This is just the day and just the game that India have picked him for in terms of wanting to bat first to give a score. So let's see. All in all, I don't think India will mind because then you're bowling under lights. The deck does something which we've seen in the past as well. So won't be a bad toss to lose.
Yeah, talking about bowling under lights. Chinmay Atreya wants to know your opinion. Like, could Shami run through the Sri Lankan batting order again, once again, while batting under lights?
Yeah, he can. And the thing here is, I'm keen to see when he comes on. Last game they gave the new ball to Siraj, but after 2 overs he was out of the attack. I don't think today that might happen, and again it may happen depending on the score that India get. But I mean he's bowling very well, and I don't think he's bowled better than this ever. And we are not even going to the stage where sometimes you feel okay, Shami has limited skill sets there, but then we are not even getting to that stage. So that is good. I don't think India mind it, and yes, he can run through. But the total and the conditions will be key, and how Sri Lanka approach, because if if uh, if Nisanka, Demut and Kusal come out with a very positive mindset where they are not taking undue risk, but they are just batting to the merit of it, then I think it should be really good for the game that we have a good chase. So, but the ball will move, so it will be a challenge for sure.
Yeah, you spoke about Dhananjay De Silva, that could today might be the day that they drop him, and that has happened. Dushan Hemantha has
Yeah,
come in. Anirudh, your thoughts on this change, and any, like, how could he challenge the Indian batters? Because so far India have not been troubled that much versus leg spin. They dealt with Zampa decently. Uh, Shadab did not really cause them any troubles. So could he really challenge India, given it might be a surprise factor?
I mean, personally, I felt they could have brought in Wellalage instead, considering the
yeah,
history with India as well, what happened in the Asia Cup and how he was able to kind of run through the entire top slash middle order. So I'm sorry, slightly surprised that it's Hemantha that they have preferred instead of Wellalage. But uh, we saw it in the. I think he played the. If I'm not wrong, he played the Netherlands match. If I'm not wrong, Hemantha,
mm,
I'm
Yeah, he did.
exactly
I
He
think
did.
sure.
so.
He
I
did.
think he played the Netherlands match, and I remember him slightly struggling for rhythm, line, length. He bowled a few full tosses. I don't think he had the greatest of matches out there. I have to exactly check how much he conceded in that, but from what I can recall, I think Van Beek and Engelbrecht actually,
Yeah,
dealt with him very well after they were like 80 for 6 or whatever, and that was on a Lucknow surface. So, if Hemantha is actually to cause any trouble to Indian batters, he has to really, really get his length spot on, his length line and control spot on. Otherwise, at a venue like Wankhede, it could get really, really difficult for him. So,
yeah,
I'm not sure if he'll be a threat, but it's a bold move that I can tell you. It's a very bold move. And in the aftermath of the previous Sri Lanka match, that they really lacked that extra bite in the middle overs to take wickets apart from their pacers, right? Because Tikshana is not a wicket taker, and they're not getting any wickets through the middle overs at all. So this is a gamble, and look, we'll see how it goes, but ultimately I feel it's a positive move.
I personally feel that with Hemantha coming in at 7 and Angelo Matthews at 6, they feel batting first with a short batting depth would not really have been ideal on a track like this. So they're backing their bowlers to do something and keep India to a chaseable score. Because if you don't really have batting depth, then batting first on flat wickets could get difficult. Now we'll move on to the next section of our preview, which is the key battles. Anirudh, why don't you take this one first?
Yeah. So India are batting first. So I think I'm gonna go with the obvious option, that is Madhushanka versus the Indian top order, because if I'm not wrong, Madhushanka is currently the second highest power play wicket taker in the competition behind Jansen, and he's taken I mean we saw him take Gurbaz out early in the previous match. We saw him who should have had Basto first ball in the England match. They did not review, and he also troubled Australia. Like he got Warner and Smith in like the same over, so he will get swing up front Wankhede for sure. But I would like to touch upon something. I felt like at least for the next couple of matches, David Willey might have kind of shown the template to bowl to Rohit. He bowled a very interesting first over. He went outswinger, 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 outswinger for an entire over. and then hit Rohit with a surprise in swinging Yorker on his first or second ball of his second over, and that almost nearly got Rohit LBW. He dug out a Yorker. So if I'm a left arm seamer, because how Rohit has been setting up for the in swinger, he's been playing it immaculately since the Asia Cup. If you are being honest, except for that one match in Palekile probably. So if I'm a left arm seamer, I'm gonna have to keep Rohit guessing. I'm not gonna bowl the in swinger at all. I'm gonna try to just go out away swinger, and then hit Rohit with a surprise in swinger and see if that works. Because I know that bowling in swingers is Madhushanka's bread and butter. That's what he's accustomed to doing. But I would be very curious to see if he can actually plot a different tactic just to put Rohit away and keep him guessing, rather than just saying that, okay, I'm a left armer, I'm gonna bowl in swingers. If you're good enough, you'll hit it. Otherwise, you'll get LBW. Instead of that, he can just mix it up. So I would really like to see how the battle goes today.
Nikhil, your key battle for today.
Yeah, my key battle for today is definitely the middle overs, where I expect Kasun Matthews. Again, there is a random, very old matchup for Rohit Sharma versus Angelo Matthews, but I'm not going to discuss that because it's not. It is a very old record. So not going to talk about that, dismissing him 7 times, I think. But okay, that is aside. But today you have Chamira, Rajita, and it's a very crucial game for both Gill and Shreyas, as I talked about earlier. Uh, Rajita is someone who has got the ball moving, so the early intrigue will again be there, even from Chamira and from Rajita. So that is something that I'm looking forward to, how he takes care of that, and how well Shreyas is able to pick which short ball to hit, because there is no doubt that he wants to hit, he wants to be aggressive, which is fine. But I think it's about leaving the right one and going hard at the right one. So very keen to see if he gets that balance right, because that could go a long way in deciding how much longer India had to wait. Because with Shami batting at 8, you will see KL Rahul and others batting slightly more cautiously if they lose too many early wickets. So at the 40 over mark, you don't want to be more than 3 or 4 down. So let's see how India plays their innings accordingly.
Just to add to Nikhil's point about Iyer and short balls, I mean, the obvious option we think is that probably Chamira will be the one that targets him because he has pace. But Madhushanka has a very deceptive bouncer, a very good deceptive bouncer. We saw it in the Afghanistan match as well. He got one. I think Ibrahim Zadran got caught
Ibrahim
at,
Zadran.
if
Ibrahim
I'm not
Zadran.
wrong.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
Around the
even
wicket.
Kumar
He came
Sai
around
was
the wicket.
very lucky to survive uh, uh, this thing, a toppage that fell in no man's land. So, I Madhushanka in the middle overs versus Shreyas could also be an interesting battle.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
the only thing that probably gives Shreyas that, I don't know, edge here is knowing the conditions and being very sure of the bounce. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's played all of his cricket here. So if not here, then no better place to get going.
Yeah. Gigi has this question on Shreyas. I am not sure if we have the stats for this right now, but on in terms of observation, do you think, Nikhil, that there is some truth to it, or maybe it's just a recency bias? Because I don't really think that he's. Firstly, I don't think he's had that big of a career enough or has played.
Yeah,
I think this is his first ICC tournament. He wasn't a part of 2019. He did not play the two T20 World Cups. So I anyway feel that the sample space is too small. But still,
yeah.
do you think, is there any truth in this, that he fails to perform in matches that matter? I'm not so sure.
No, I'm not sure either. And again, it's your personal observation in terms of which all matches that you have felt are important and he hasn't performed there. Because you can think of a couple of games which were very, very crucial for India, and he's seen India through. And sometimes I think we just take it for granted when things happen in their way. And when they don't, we are probably more harsh or very strict in terms of why are you not seeing this game off. Like, take an example of the New Zealand chase, or you see the chase after that. You felt those are the games where, or the Bangladesh game, you feel those are the games where they should be there till the end, closing the game out. That is what they've done in the past. But not being able to do that is something that I feel I'll accuse him of. Okay, he he hasn't closed the game out as well as I expected him to. But
I think we lost Nikhil.
Yeah, a bit of
okay, sorry.
connectivity
No,
issues.
no, everyone's back. So yeah, Nikhil, continue.
No, so I don't think it's been a problem of not doing in matches that matter in particular. Again, if you have few examples, that would be great. But I don't. I just think he's had chances, but not always made the most of them.
Anirudh, coming to you, you also recently did a piece on Shreyas, and we'll be posting that in the comments also. What do you think is really troubling him? Is it a specific line that is troubling him, or is it something else, or is it just him wanting to take on the short ball too much? What do you think is really the problem with Shreyas right now?
Yeah, I mean, like I think we spoke about this in the aftermath of the England game as well. It feels like he's just overly curious to prove a point. It feels like he's walking out of the middle, not giving himself enough time, in certain moments, and he's very, very, very eager to stamp his authority and almost walking out with this kind of mindset where he feels that, okay, look, people need to know that I can play the short ball. People need to know that I can play at 110 strike rate or whatever. I think this has been a problem with him in this World Cup. I'm okay with him taking time and actually getting some runs under his belt in this match, because that might actually be more important for India than him, like proving a point or whatever. But one more failure, and I feel like if Pandya returns, it will be really difficult for India to retain Shreyas, because I feel that KL Rahul can do what Shreyas Iyer does better. Like KL Rahul is a better number four than Iyer. He and the whole point of picking Iyer was to stop these collapses. But India have had two collapses, and Iyer has been in the heart of two collapses. Like against Australia, he played that horrendous shot, 1 for 2. Against England, again, a very inexplicable, hoik where he got caught at mid on, and he's not been able to, like what Nikhil said, he's not been able to kind of shepherd the side and see them over the line as well, except maybe for that Pakistan match where by the time he walked in, the match was already killed. So if Surya Kumar Yadav, let's say, gets another 50 and Shreyas has another failure, then I would really be thinking, if I'm the management, whether or not we should actually persist with Iyer at 4 and Rahul at 5. Because, like the numbers show here, Rahul at 4 averages 60. He did the job very well in the Asia Cup. He did the job in the Australia series after the Asia Cup as well. He batted a couple of innings at number 4, scored a couple of 50s. So we know that Rahul can do the number 4 role very well. And we know that Shreyas can't do what Surya Kumar does at the death. Shreyas is not someone who's going to give you 50 of 20 balls walking in at number 6. And also, one more reason I feel that Surya Kumar might have to be retained in the 11 is because once Pandya comes back, I feel that lower order will still be severely undercooked. Pandya has batted once in this World Cup. He's batted twice since the start of the Asia Cup. And Jadeja has been in, like, dodgy form with the bat despite his 30 odd against New Zealand. His strike rate for the year is still 67. He's not someone who, if you need 100 of 10 overs, he's not going to come out and, you're not going to have faith in him to chase that target now. So, I feel the lower order especially needs more, strength. So that is also another reason for India to retain Surya if he does well one more match. So big match for Iyer. We said the same in the England match. He couldn't capitalize, but if he fails against Sri Lanka as well on a wicket like Wankhede, I really can't see how you can justify keeping him in the 11 when there are clearly more dynamic options.
Yeah, fair enough. And today I forgot to give this reminder, but it came from our producer. So, guys, you know what to do. Please hit the like button, and the number of likes will dictate uh, the score that India will end up with in the last 10. Okay, the number of, because we want them to score a very big have a very big innings, but the number of likes will determine the number of runs India will score in the last 10, right? And 100 is a realistic target at Wankhede. So you guys know that the number I'm asking for, because I don't really want to name number of likes will equate to the runs of a one particular player, etc., etc. Because then some people might say that I'm jinxing. So yeah, no individual related targets. We're just looking for the team. We are not milestone oriented, so you guys know what we are looking at. But moving,
वन लाइक करके बोल रहे माइलस्टोन ओरिएंटेड नहीं है ठीक है
ठीक है थोड़ा बहुत चलता है anyway.
आ, आ,
Now we move on to the next segment of the show, which is the X Factor. Nikhil, your X Factor for today.
my X factor for today from Sri Lanka would be Angela Matthews. Uh, he's had great numbers. I see the smile on Anirudh's face, so he can shed more light on the data that he has for Angelo. And again, he's also bowling, so that just adds to the bit there. Uh, on this deck may be needed for 4 or 5 hours there. So that, and again, while uh, while batting, again he's batting probably too low. So very keen to see where he's batting today as well. But given that he's likely to come up against Kuldeep, it will be a good battle to watch. Angelo Matthews of the old of versus Kuldeep of the new. It should be a very good battle to watch. So that is the X factor from Sri Lanka. From India, I think most picks are very, very obvious and taken. But I am keen to see how KL Rahul goes today. Again, may not get to do much, may get to do a lot, but has wonderful memories of this ground. If you take out that Trent Bolt dismissal or was it Mohammad Shami? Mohammad Shami dismissal. So, जो भी है,
Both,
there have been
both actually
हाँ
came at the same venue.
both came at the same minute. So as long as that doesn't happen, I'm cool with it. But yeah, KL Roll from India because as Paji said, with the higher number 8, you want that acceleration to come and you want to get a lot of runs towards the end. So that is something that I'm looking forward to from KL Roll.
Also on that Angelo Matthews bit, last time India played Sri Lanka in the World Cup in 2019, Angelo Matthews, KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, all of them scored hundreds, and I was there at the venue. So just
Was
wanted
that
to
a,
remind.
was it not like a boring match to watch though? Like as in the pace at which it was going was painfully slow.
See, I was so excited to watch a game outside of India at a different venue, and the crowds were fun, so it really did not bother me. I came back with a lot of skin burns in the morning when I reached Leeds. I think it was around 8 degrees, and I felt like that it did not have enough clothes. By the time the game started, it was so hot that I really had sunburns on my skin. So it's just the weather in England that it is. But Anirudh, your X factors for today?
Okay, so for Sri Lanka, I'm going to go with Charita Sri Lanka. Uh, I mean, he has threatened to do well. Like he had a semi-decent start to the World Cup, and he's kind of, been on a downward slope after that Pakistan match maybe. But I feel that with Kuldeep Jadeja, both kind of on paper at least favorable matchups to him. So number 5, he could actually do well. And Wankhede again is a very good 6 hitting venue, and we know how much someone like an Asalanka likes to slog sweep the ball into the stands, and this could be the kind of venue that aids him because Hyderabad he did well, so here he should do well. You feel even Delhi he did well, so. Uh, for me, Asalanka at number 5 might be a very important player for Sri Lanka. And for India, I am gonna go with a player that's currently out of form but has a very good record against Sri Lanka. That is Mohammad Siraj. Uh, what 6 for nothing in the Asia Cup final, if I'm not wrong. So you know he this is the perfect opponent, perfect venue, perfect everything for him to kind of hit form. And let's not forget, he also will have a very rusty left-hander to bowl to up front, which in Dimut Karnaratne, and Siraj, as we know, like kind of likes bowling to left-handers anyway, and Dimut is barely played cricket in the last couple of months, and he's also gonna be feeling for the ball. So underlights Wankhede will be a bit tricky for the batters as well. So who knows? Maybe this is the game where Siraj picks up picks up his form and kind of puts to bed questions whether he should be in 11 or not, because Shami is putting real pressure on him, so he also has to step up now.
Yeah. My X factor is Pathum Nisanka for Sri Lanka. I feel he's been in good form, and if Sri Lanka are to chase something, uh, because I expect India to get around 300 at the very least. A start from him will be important, and he's looked really good in this World Cup. Has 450s, probably could convert one today. So Pathum Nisanka for Sri Lanka. For India, it's really difficult because I was reminded in the last game by Nikhil that some of the players cannot be the X factors. So I'm going for Shubman Gill, because I even though he's not had a great record like how Nikhil mentioned, which is surprising because on a pitch like this you expect Shubman to do well, but he's really not had a lot of runs. Even in the last IPL, he got out to Akash Madhwal where the ball skidded on. So let's see if he can, turn those numbers around in Wankhede. So yeah, these are the two X factors for me. A question has come in, Nikhil. It's something that you'd like to answer. This is by Shubham Sushobit. He's asking, what do you reckon will be the role of spinners on this pitch, and how do you see Jadeja choose his length on this pitch?
Yeah, I think a lot will actually first depend on the score, to be very, very honest with you, because normally what you've seen with Jadeja is he's looked to hit the stumps, not move too much away from them, don't give them any air so that they can come down, and just look to hit that target of, probably short, top of off, just bowl to the field as much as he can. But the challenge here will be the score and who is he bowling to. So someone like a Nisanka at times has cut well, but he's also found the fielder. But he's bowling to, and again, it's how India use him against Asalanka, or if there is any other lefty at that point, because Sadira also cuts very well.
Yeah.
Sadira is also good at using his feet, but I don't think Jadeja will give him the speed to, or the time to come down the wicket. So the role could be crucial. Jadeja has played the holding role very well so far in all the games, and today might be no different. If Kusal Mendes takes off, then it could be a very different battle, because then that again adds a different value, that then you can't look to contain Kusal. You have to look to make him create a fall shot. So that's where then you have to bowl differently. So a lot of interesting factors, and again when they come in the picture. See, while bowling first, you are in the game earlier, but like we saw in that last game as well, if the ball is doing a bit, I'm more than likely, or we are more than likely to see Pacers bowl for a longer duration of time. And that means Jadeja is probably the last preferred option, because you already have the game set up in that sense. So a lot will depend on what's the score, how India start with the ball. But round about 40 for 1 is the kind of performance I'm looking for him.
Okay, guys, about to move towards the end of the show. Today there's a mid-inning show, so we will have some conversations in the mid-inning show. So I'm not taking result predictions right now. I'm only taking predictions of the score. Anirudh,
Wow.
your score prediction?
347 for 4, and I am uh, going for a Surya like 80 of 40 balls or whatever, something like that.
Fair enough. Nikhil, your prediction? Surely can't be VVS today.
You hope not. It's not VVS today. I want a lot of runs to be scored, but hopefully it doesn't backfire. 372.
372. Okay. 347, 372. Again, I'll probably pick the average of the two
Yeah,
scores in between, which should be around 360. So yeah, let's see. 360. I'd love it if both Shreyas and Gill could get some
yeah,
runs, because that is really the need of the hour for the Indian team. On that note, we'll be ending the show. Please don't forget to join us for the mid-inning show once the innings completes. And as always, we will be there for the review show as well. In the mid-inning show, please come up with your questions about what Sri Lanka could have done better, what India could have done better, how the game panned out, etc., etc. Be right there. And on this note, I'd like to thank both Nikhil and Anirudh for joining in the show.
cheers.
And to our viewers, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to cricket.com. See you at around 5:45, 6 p.m. Let's see when the game gets done.